Hello, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in New Zealand, and I'm bringing you another Global Monthly Video Hop. So this month, myself and demonstrators from around the world are making things based on the theme of home decor. So in the description of the video below, you'll be able to find links to the other demonstrators that are participating from around the world. And you'll be able to see what home decor items they've decided to share with you this month. I will also list in the description all the products that I show you today with the items I'm using. So if you want to order any, you can just look them up easily. Talk to your demonstrator to order, or if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you live in New Zealand, you can go to my site, michellekritchley.stampinup.net, and order directly from me or contact me through my site if you have any questions. I also have a blog that I put up different pictures and ideas of projects, sometimes linked to my videos, sometimes not. So have a look at that, papercraftaddiction.blogspot.co.nz. So I know if you're watching this video, it's already November. Halloween has passed, but I'm going to recreate this home decor item with a Christmas theme. So I created this one for Halloween, and I'll talk to you about what I did here in case you wish to make one for your future Halloween or modify it for your own use. So I use the Cottage Wreath stamp set, and I also use the matching Cottage Wreath dies for this, and I'll be using it for the Christmas one I'll be doing shortly. I've used the pumpkin pie cardstock, and I've used the black glimmer paper. I've also got some orange glimmer paper. And this gold looking paper is actually from the holiday, the mini catalog. It's the Festive foils paper. You get 6 sheets, I believe. Yep, 6 sheets. You get 2 of each color. So it comes in the gold, which is what I used here for the Halloween one. It comes in cherry cobbler, which is this color here, and the other one is soft succulent. So I'll hold these up closer so you can see they've actually got a bit of shimmer, and they're single-sided, and they have a bit of shimmer on them. So we got the shimmery like dots, stars there, and this one has almost like snowflakes. So as you can see from that section, I've already started my Christmas project, and that's the one I use for the Halloween. So the other thing I'm using are Tealight candles, which Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell, so you need to pick them up from whatever local shop you have. Here in New Zealand, we have a lot of little dollar shops, and you can get them in packs of 2, 4, 6, etc. So I was trying to do this with black Tealight candles, and I couldn't find any anywhere. So I came up with a solution. I used the Glimmer washi tape that we currently sell. It's in the catalog, the mini catalog that finishes at the end of the year. So it comes in these 4 colors in the pack, and I've used the orange and the black on regular white tea lights, and I've just done a couple stripes around there, and it sticks down quite easily. And then the top for the candles, I used my circle dies to create a top. This one I don't think I stuck down, and just cut little area in the center to slide over your tea light. If you have a look at my video about the birthday cake, Tealight birthday cake, I show you how to do that. So it's the same idea there. So I've done 2 like that, and then I did one in the opposite colors with the orange. And the little spiders, I stamped those onto basic white and then sponged them a little bit with crumb cake so it wasn't quite so bright. And I added a bit of Wink of Stella. So if you can see, there's the spider shimmering. And I did that to all of them. And then the little words Boo from the stamp set is done with black embossing powder. And the wreaths that you can see here, I stamped that in early espresso and then sponged it with crumb cake, because when I first did it, I thought it was just too bright with the white. This is our silver mesh, and let me see, I'll show you what it looks like. So here it is. It's nice and wide. It's called metallic mesh ribbon, And it comes in that lovely silver. Now, I've recently found out from my upline Raywin, thank you Raywin for the tip, that you can color this with your Stampin' Blends markers, which are alcohol based. So you can use any color, rub it on there to change it. So this is how it comes in the silver, and I colored it with the basic black Stampin' Blends and got that black. So I changed the color of that. Now I haven't stuck the Tealights down because that way I can turn them on by picking them up. Okay, and now, and then I use the black Glimmer for the top of those ones as well as the background. And I think I already mentioned that I used pumpkin pie there. So we're going to recreate this but have a Christmas theme, so things will be slightly different. And hopefully it'll go to plan. So I will set this aside. And again, I'll list everything in the description, this one as well as the new one, the products I used. And if you have a look, see how I've got the stitched edging? I'm going to show you how I did that in a little bit. So pop that aside. So while I was trying to find black Tealight candles, which I failed, I saw other just plain colors. Some were really ugly, garish orange and stuff like that. But I came across these. Aren't those cool? And they came in packs of 2. And I got a pack of 2 and then thought, oh, that'd be great for the Christmas one. And then it took me forever to try to find more of them because I bought the only ones the store had. Managed to find another store that had slightly different ones. So this is what I originally got. And see how tall it is. It looks slightly different. And I came up with the idea of putting a beautiful bow on it. So I needed the red ones. Managed to find them. So I've got myself 3 red Tealight battery operated candles. If you can't find those, and you find other white ones, then just cut the red Glimmer. If you have some red Glimmer paper, which we do sell, cut that and stick it around the side. If we had red in this, you could go around the edge, or if you wanted to do green, you could go around the edge with the green. So 3 of those. And what else you need is your base cardstock. So I'm going with traditional red and green colors for Christmas. So my base cardstock is garden green, and hopefully I can read that. It's 21 by 10 centimeters, 21 centimeters by 10, or this is 4 inches by 8¼ inches roughly. Then gold Glimmer paper, and it's single-sided. So we've got slightly less than your base. So I've got 9½ by 20½ centimeters, which is 3 3/4 by 8 inches. That's going to be layered there. And then I originally cut a piece of the red, what is it called? Specialty Festive foils. The red Festive foils. That's in Cherry Cobbler. And this piece is 9 by 20 centimeters or 3½ by 7 7/8 inches. Then I used the second from the largest stitched rectangle die. And I popped it on there and I ran it through, but not the whole way because I didn't want this rectangle. I wanted it to be longer. So when you put that through your die cutting machine, put your base down, put your paper down. Now imagine this is slightly bigger. So if you go with the measurements I said, the 9 by 20 centimeters, that'll be the perfect size. So put that across the 9 centimeter side and put your top plate only part way down. So put your top plate only that far. Don't put the top plate covering the bottom. So what will happen when you run it through your die cutting machine, it only cuts where both plates are touching. Because there's no pressure here, this won't cut. So once you get that part cut, then you turn it around, put the top up there, so this part you're going to cut now, and line up the lines that have already been cut, and do the same thing. So only put your top plate part way down so it matches up to where you've already cut, and run it through, and then you'll end up with a nice long rectangle. So you can do that with any die if you want it to be longer than what the die actually allows for. So that's how I got that piece with the nice stitched edges. Hopefully you can see the stitched edges. That was the point of that. And that's with the stitch rectangle dies, the second from the largest die I used for that. If you're making a smaller design, you can go with something smaller. And so then I've used these two detailed dies from the Country Wreath die set. And I cut 3 of each in garden green. So they come out like this. And I also used this beautiful die, you'll see this in a second, that bow die, to cut a bow for my candles. Now there's other dies here that will cut out the images that are on the stamp set. But the only stamp I actually used was for this one I used Merry Christmas, for the other one obviously Boo. So I didn't do any other stamping on this one. I've already gone and stamped and embossed the Merry Christmas in gold. And when you cut these pieces out, you end up with your extra bits. So like this one, oh, I see, I haven't popped a part out. So we get all your little bits that you can pull out. But you also have that bit that comes out in the middle, and then for here, you have a piece that comes out of the center there. I don't like to waste anything, so I stamped and heat embossed my Merry Christmas onto those center sections. So I'm going to fussy cut it so you end up with those words. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of them or use them at all, but my other one I used Boo twice, so I'll see what I'm going to do there. But I think this looks quite like an interesting shape. I'm going to save that for another project. So here are the die cut bows. Look at the detail in that. Those are gorgeous. And that's on gold foil. And then I also cut a strip. Now gold foil comes in 12 by 12 inch pieces, so I cut a 1/2 centimeter piece, which I think that's the same as 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, I think it's about 1/8 of an inch, just 1/8 of an inch strip. I've cut 2 of those to go around my candles. And that's all you need other than adhesives for this project. So what I'm going to do here, before I forget, since I'm going to be covering up this gold, you're not going to see the gold behind there. I don't like to waste paper, especially if it's a specialty paper like the gold. So I am actually going to cut out a rectangle out from the inside of that I can keep and use for other projects. I mean, I could cut more bows off of it, whatever I want. So I've gone and I've already turned it over, traced around this, so I know how much I need minimum, and I'm going to cut within those lines there. See where I got the lines? Ah, you're not focusing. There we go. So I'm going to cut within those lines with my cutter, my trimmer. And I'll just move a few of the foil things out of the way. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut, looks like, yeah, so that's a really small, that's less than 1/2 centimeter, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to cut 1 centimeter within 1 centimeter of the whole thing. So I'm just going to move it up to the 1 centimeter mark here. And I've got my metric measurement on the side, so I can slide the blade down to 1 centimeter on the edge. And if you're not familiar with these, there's little lines that show you on either side and top and bottom where the blade's actually going to cut. And see, here's my measurement. So if I line that line there with the 1, I know I'm going to start 1 centimeter down. And just to double check, see, that is much smaller than 1 centimeter, so 1 centimeter will be perfectly fine. So I'm going to go down from 1 centimeter, and I'm going to stop at the bottom 1 centimeter shorter than I want, which this is 20.5 centimeters. So I'm going to stop it at 19.5 centimeters, and that will cut a nice straight line within my gold. Now you don't have to do this. It's just my way of saving paper. If you're, you know, just if you have a budget, or if you're, say, a demonstrator and you're a hobby demonstrator, it's one way to make sure your paper lasts a long time. So now we'll come, because I'm down here, I'll start at 19.5, roughly thereabouts. And I'll go right up to 1 centimeter. Okay, and then this way, this size here was 9.5, so we're going to cut it 1 centimeter down to 8.5. So again, I left it at the 1 centimeter, move it over 1 centimeter there. And then the same over here. Since it's finished at 8.5 centimeters, I'm just going to go up. And if I did that right, close enough, yep, there we go. Edges are just going to pop out. That one's not quite, there we go. So there, I pull that out, and I can use this for something else, because look at that. That's just gorgeous. Don't want to waste that. And because I have the base here, it's not going to be seen anyway, so now I can layer all that up. And you can't even tell from there that I've cut anything up. So I'm going to use tape to layer all that up. And then I'm going to fussy cut these words. I will fussy cut the words off camera so you don't have to watch me cutting. But the other thing I wanted to show you was, so you get these 2 different wreaths. Now you could just use one wreath. And this one here, it cuts it out into little sections that can be folded up. So you get a bit of depth there. That's what I like about that. But I discovered that the other wreath ends up being exactly the same as the parts that you're folding up. So the easiest way to find it is to see these 2 bits here that are actually joined. If you look in there, you find the ones that are joined. It perfectly fits over the other wreath. So when you pop up the top ones, if you have that one below it, you still have the green showing up. Okay, so that's how I'm going to layer it. And here's one I did earlier. And then I'm also going to use the new Pearlized Enamel Effects, and I'm going to use the red, and to put some little berries onto the wreath. Now there are berries that you can stamp from here, but they're too big for my liking. You can die cut them as well. But if you put the pearls effects on there and leave it dry, it looks like little berries. Now let me show you. So I've already glued the 2 wreaths together here, and I just glued them on the center, and then you can just simply slide up. Now, if you don't have nails or your fingers are too big, you can just use your bone folder. And see, as I flip that up, you can still see the ones below, and you'll see the effect it'll have on the wreath. So the easiest way to do this is to put some glue on this one. So that's the full piece, but you just want the glue in the center part, because you only want the center of the other one to stick to it. So go around the circle here, and again, try to find the matching part. So I find it's best if you find the 2 that appear to be connected, because then on here you can easily find the 2 that are connected. And I'm just going to layer that over them. Oh, how did I do that? Harder to do it on camera. Is that the 2 connected? It is. How come that doesn't look right? Aha, I think that's the wrong 2 connected. There we go. I did it a minute ago and it worked fine. Now I can't seem to figure it out. It's typical. So those two are not the two. Sorry about that. Worked a second ago when I showed you, didn't it? Okay, I found it. It's the two that aren't cut apart. I don't know why I couldn't see that before. There we go. So the two that aren't cut apart, that's where I was trying to line it up. Okay. Just line that up. I had the glue on the back of the top one. And just press it in place. I always use an E-block or something just to hold it in place long enough, which is why my blocks end up being dirty. Because I get the glue on them. So I'm going to fussy cut this out and glue down all these bits and come back and finish putting the project together. Okay, so another thing we want to do with our wreath, so these ones are done. I just need to pop some of the Pearlized Enamel Effects Real Red onto this wreath. It's easier to do it when it's doesn't have the edges popped up. So just hopefully you can, there we go. So just gonna pop a little dot, a couple dots here and there. Try not to let them run around the wreath in a few different spots where, whoop, see that one got a bit where I didn't want it to go. Much easier to do this off camera, so you don't want to squish it too much, you just want a little dot. So just a dot, and it will, because it's liquid, it will go down into little, like a little pearl, almost like. Just don't squish too much. You don't want too much coming out. You just got to get used to using it. And I only just used this a couple hours ago for the first time, so hopefully I think I've got you off. Oh, the way I have it set up, it's hard for me to come around and do this. There we go. So if it was out of focus, I apologize. As I said, it's kind of hard to do the dots. So I'm going to leave those. I might add another dot there. It doesn't take very long to dry. That's why I did it earlier, just to check. So I'm going to leave that one here to dry. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to put my bows on my candles. So get your strip. Now, I left it at 12 by 12 because I'm not sure how long I want it to be. You need to determine what the front of your candle is going to look like. And you're just going to wrap it round and then cut it to fit. Now, tape would probably be the best for this. And you want it to overlap slightly, so I'm going to measure this up again. So I'm just going to pop it around there and run it round. So it will depend on what kind of tea light, what size tea light candle you have. So I can't give you exact measurements for this for yours, but it's better to cut it a little bit long than too short. So if I trim that there, that's, let me see how long that ends up being. That ends up being about 12 centimeters long. Now this tape is probably going to be too big, but that's all right because I can just fold over the excess. And you don't have to tape it on, you could just tape the ends. You don't have to tape the whole part of it. but you could tape the ends. So see, that's too big. So what I'm going to do is when I peel it off, I'm just going to gently fold the excess over to the inside. So there. So there's my tape on the right side. And then I'm going to put my bow, give me an idea of how high up I want it to be for my bow. So I don't want it to be in the center because the bow is going to, is too long. So I'm going to just eyeballing where the bow is and then start where I want my bow to be. And so just wrap it around. And if I did this right, it should meet up. Ta-da! There we go. Slightly crooked, but that's okay. And then you can hide the join with your bow. So you need a glue dot for the bow. So I'm going to take the glue dot right there, and just that center part of the bow I'm going to pop right over the glue dot. And the reason I'm using a glue dot and tape is because foil doesn't stick very well with liquid glue. Now before I pop it down, I'm just going to give it a bit of texture by using my bone folder just to curl those bits. So I'm just curling them outward just so it's going to look sort of 3D. And that one is going to just go right over that join there. I'm just going to cover it up with the bow. And see, that's why I chose 1/2 centimeter, because if it was too wide, it wouldn't look realistic. Okay, so that's that one done. So I'll get the bows ready in advance for the other one. So again, just curl those bows up. And the other one, just curl it up a bit. Okay. And then my next candle, I could just measure the 12 centimeters, but I find it easier just to wrap it around and just snip it off where I see the overlap. And I'll keep that for another project. I always keep everything for other projects. And then my last one. If you find, I found like, see there's a flaw in this one. If you find any flaws, that's a good place to try to cover with the bow. I guess when they manufacture it, they get a few flaws. Okay. We'll just snip that off. There. All right, so I will tape those up and come back to you. Okay, so now I've gone round and I've pushed up all those leaves. Let's see, there we go. So I've gone through and pushed up the top leaves. Now see, there's those other leaves for the second wreath we put on there, but they fill in that gap nicely. And so I've gone and I pushed them all up, and hopefully the red has had time to dry on this one. And I definitely want all the inside ones pushed up because that will help to hold the Tealight candle in place. Now, the plan for this is to put them all in the center. So it just depends on how long we have it. So if you want it fewer, you could cut your rectangle shorter. If you want more, cut it longer. And so I've put those lovely bows onto the Tealight candles. And so I'll show you with the inside ones pushed up, the Tealight happens to fit perfectly within all those leaves. There you go. So you see how the Tealight fits nicely? Oh, fold it one down. There we go. The Tealight happens to fit perfectly within that section. But I'm not going to glue the Tealight down because I need to be able to pick it up and turn it on and turn it off. but this is the look I'm going for. Now, because these have candles, bows on them, I need to figure out whether I'm going to have it one-sided or if I'm going to have it different directions. But my Halloween one, there was, except for the one that had the spider on it, there was nothing different on either side, so I could have it both directions. But this is the one I recently glued. I'm just worried I recently put the red on, so I'm worried about that. So basically that's how it's going to set, and I'm just deciding how far in to put my wreaths. You could also determine which direction to put them, because they could all be going slightly differently. And I just want to make sure that they're evenly spaced. So I kind of like the look of that. So I will start by gluing the one in the middle first, and then I can even out the other ones if I want. And then I'll decide whether I want to put the Merry Christmas on or not. Thinking I might do some little gold foil leaves, maybe popping out. We'll see. I will glue the wreath down first, and then we'll see about the decorating. So that one's going to go basically there. Get some glue. And so here, I want to glue all, get some glue that's going to work. I want to glue all the bottom leaves down, keep it in place, and not get any glue on the ones that I want to pop up. So I'll start with the center of the wreath, and then just strategically put a little glue, extra glue in a few spots to help hold the rest down. So this is the first time I'm actually doing this one project, so that's why it's taken a little bit longer. I had the idea in my head, and the Halloween one was my first sample one. So I'll spread that glue around there. And so we'll just pop that wreath right about there. I want to be careful that I don't actually smash down any of the red bits. So use my bone folder to help pop it in place. And that should hold it in place just fine with the glue. Now I guess I could have probably glued the wreaths down first and then put the little red dots on last. That probably would have made a lot more sense. Silly me, didn't think of it. As I said, this is the first time I'm working with these wreaths, so. Alright. Now let's put this one on this side. So if you do this project yourself, I suggest you put the wreaths down and then put the red dots on afterwards. Then you don't have to worry about squishing them possibly. Okay. And my glue is being very sticky today. Just going to turn that so it fits a bit better. And bone folders are wonderful to use for lots of different things. So if you don't have a bone folder, I highly recommend you get one. It's great as like an extended finger reach to push things down, to fold things up, and overall definitely a good crafting tool to have. If you ever wondered why we call it a bone folder, well, these are actually made out of bone. I'm not quite sure what type of bone, but definitely not endangered by any means. But they are hard. You can get similar items elsewhere, but they're made out of other materials and not as good. But it's nice, and so that's why it's stained a bit, because it is out of bone. Okay, so my glue is going a bit crazy. I think it's the humidity. Sometimes it affects things, because here in New Zealand we're going into summer, and even though it's gloomy and rainy outside at the moment, it's very humid. So some of my glue came off there. And I think the humidity just adds pressure onto the glue and makes it come out. Okay. So I better put my cap back on this one. Keep it from oozing everywhere. So this last one, I'm just going to try to make it so it fits in there, not too close. And then just again press it down. Now I had thought about doing the stamp and doing that stamped image, but I stamped it on white and it just looked too strong for the background I was doing. I guess I could probably stamp it on a colored cardstock would be useful. Okay, so I'm just going to push these inside bits up so I can get the tea lights in. Push them up and out of the way. Oop. Little disaster on my red there. I'll have to fix that up later. That one must have still been wet. And so just push your inside leaves up and out of the way. Up and out of the way. Make room for the lovely tea light candles to sit. There's one there. Turn these on so you can see the effect. There we go. There's our effect. Oh, that one, I haven't pulled the thing out. There we go. And then. Now if I was having this, I guess, in the center of the table, I might put the candles facing different directions. So both sides of the table could see it. But if you have it on a mantle where it's only going to be seen one direction, then you can just have all the candles going one way. So now I was thinking of just popping the little Merry Christmas in a few different spots. Maybe I'll do another one. I can do another Merry Christmas on the other side so you can see it from both areas, and then it can be double-sided. I'm not sure. Not sure I'm liking that. Thinking I might just go with the two, like what I had on the my Halloween one. But I'm curious about maybe doing some of these leaves in the greens and the gold. Let me check it out. Okay, so I cut some leaves out, and the different dies, there's two different outline dies, and you get several of each one. So I tried it in the gold and the green to see what I thought. So those are what I cut out, just to have a look. But this one, I think because the background's red, I'm not sure I quite like that one. And then the green looks too bland to me. Kind of gets lost. The same with that green. Could have it coming out of the branches. So I think I'm going to go with having the gold ones down on the edges, just to add a bit of bling to it, and put the Merry Christmas there as well. So the Merry Christmas I'm going to put up on some dimensionals. And I'm just going to go with how it looks at the moment, because I know if I spend too much time thinking about it, it's going to take ages. And quite often I find sometimes I think about something too long, trying to figure out the best way to do it, and end up going back to my first idea. So instead of overthinking it, I'm just going to go with what I've got set up at the moment. So I've just got a bit of gold bling and then the gold words, Merry Christmas. Oh, has this one died or did I not turn it on? There we go, forgot to turn it on. And so just go find yourself some Tealight candles. You might be able to find these, or just if you find white ones, just decorate them with some glimmer paper or some washing tape. And then I'll put a bit of glue on the back of those. Hopefully not too much glue. Yeah, the humidity is definitely getting to my glue. I wonder how many other places have issues with glue because of humidity. But yeah. I'm just putting the gold on because I just thought there was too much red. Not enough contrast from looking over at it. From the front it looks quite good. I'll see if I can pick it up and let you see that. Might be difficult to see on the video. Because I can't hold things sideways, but you know what the candles look like. I also find sometimes the humidity makes the tape and glue dots not stick very well. So I tend to use more glue than tape on projects in the summertime. But that's the price we pay for living in a place with high humidity. I've just got a couple more and then I'll pick it up and you can have a look at it. So hopefully you like this project, and make sure you click on the other demonstrators links to have a look at what else they've made for home decor. I'm curious to see them myself and see if they've done Christmas themed things or if they've done something completely different. But it's just to show you that you can use your Stampin' Up! Products in other ways than just card making or scrapbooking. So lots of other things you can do with some cardstock and some adhesives. And we have lots of different types of materials. Glimmer, foil, designer series paper, and lots of interesting ways. So if you want to see other things to do with the Tealight, I do have a video I just recently done about making a tiered birthday cake. Could make a tiered wedding cake, I guess. But it was my youngest daughter's 21st birthday recently. So I made a special card, explosion card for her with a very special cake, oops, inside of it. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Not bad for something in my mind that I just put together on the video. So that is the Christmas version of the home decor. Let's see if you can have, so you can see a little bit. So see how the wreaths kind of hug the candles. I could have put my ribbon up a bit higher, I guess. So just when you put the candles in, you got to make sure you push back those little leaves from the inside. And then the candle should just fit perfectly inside there. So that's the Christmassy version of the Glimmer. And it's kind of hard to tell on the video, on the light, but you can see that there's shimmer in that red paper. And then this was my original Halloweeny one. And that's quite shimmery because of the top. But this one I added the mesh to give it a bit of shine there as well. I'm going to turn the light off on the video, see if you can see the see it better. Let's see. No, I think that's worse. Okay. There's the light's back on. Okay, so there you go. I hope you like that. Give me a thumbs up. Again, I will list all the products below that I use for both of these, mainly the Cottage Wreath stamp and the Country Wreath dies is what I use for this, as well as one of the stitch rectangle dies. And then all the other things for both projects will be listed below. So if you do want to get any of them, you can see what the product numbers and the names are, and you can order them. Let's just put some lights on here. You can see everything in its lovely glory. So I put some of the black there as well to make it look like the spider's coming down a web. There we go. So just get yourself some Tealight candles and decorate for Christmas. And now you got an idea for next Halloween. Thanks so much for watching. And please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more of these lovely videos. And I'd love to hear your feedback. So if you give me comments, that would be wonderful. Bye. Have a good day.